nje sababu sasa watatoka aje?
Niliwazaa wakiwa sawa.
Niliwazaa wakiwa sawa kabisa.
Sikujitakia kwa hii hali. Nimejipata tu. Ikanidhoofisha. Nisaidieni.
Saa zingine hata kutafuna tu hii joo kutafuna. Nashindwa hata na kutafuna chakula. Nashindwa hata na kumeza. Daktari saa zingine nalala tu na uchungu sana. Sana kabisa.
Tunaungana na wanafunzi wa shule ya upili ya Mwiki jua manufaa ya kilimo mseto.
Mimi sababu ya kufanya agriculture ni kuna anko yangu alikuwa anafanya business na kanikaje nifanyie agriculture. Inasaidianga.
Hii saa 10:30 ili upate mseto kamili wa kilimo hapa KBC Channel 1.
Oimore Jokanyanam. Good evening. We're coming to you live from Kisumu County, especially from the Mama Grace Onyango Cultural Center in this particular devolved unit that is known for its busy fishing industry that contributes immensely to the country's blue economy sector. Will hold this transgenerational conversation, its third edition of its kind that seeks to hold or rather close the gap between the ages that are here in the country in order to have a sober discussion that will shape the country's future. Today's session is very vital because it sets the stage for the International Day of Peace that is set to be marked here in Kisumu County on the 21st of September, with this year's theme being Act Now for a Peaceful World. Now, since morning, our audience have been streaming. They will have the chance to engage our panel of experts who are drawn from various fields. Remember that this session is exclusively live on KBC Channel 1 on all its platforms, courtesy of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, as well as the Korean International Cooperation Agency, including the county government of Kisumu and other stakeholders who are currently here with us. You'll be informed in just a few who they are. And of course, you watching us right now, you can have your say on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Remember, the hashtag is Amanikwa Ground, and we'll sample some of the views as this session continues. I am your moderator this evening. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. However, I am not alone.
Kweli kabisa, mtazamaji, alivyosema mwenzangu Abdiaziz Hashim ni kwamba hayuko peke yake. Ujambo ama ukipenda upande huu idhinadi. Basi mtazamaji, leo hii awamu ya 3 ya mazungumzo ya vizazi inang'wananga hapa katika kituo ama ukumbi wa kitamaduni wa Mama Grace. Bila shaka tutakuwa tunazidi kuendeleza ule mjadala ambao tulianza wiki chache zilizopita, na hivyo basi katika upande huu wa pili mimi nitakuwa nazungumza nao wananchi. Manake kama kawaida huwa tunasema mazungumzo au mjadala wowote si kamilifu bila sauti ya mwananchi. Tutakuwa tunapata maswali yao na vile vile wale ambao wana mchango kuhusiana na mjadala wa leo. Lakini kwa sasa hivi na urejeshe usukani kwake Abdiaziz Hashim. Jina langu ni Nancy Okware.
And now welcome to the third edition of the Transgenerational Conversation, live from Mama Grace Onyango Cultural Center here in Kisumu County. Thank you. And our panel this evening consists of, let me start on the furthest end. Our Gen Z on this particular platform is Benjamin Nditi. He is the President Students Organization of Masenom, also the Organizing Secretary, Kenya University President's Council, a pioneer at the Kenya Pharmacy Students Association. He is a final year bachelor of a pharmacy student, Maseno University. Welcome, Benjamin, and good evening.
Thank you.
Next to Benjamin is Rosaline Onunga. She is the Peace Building and Conflict Management Professional, holds a PhD in Peace building and conflict studies, trainer and mentor, empowering communities through self-help groups. She is skilled in early warning, response, mediation, negotiations, dialogue, reconciliation, and trauma healing, as well as she has built a strong government partnership to strengthen conflict systems and counter violent extremism. Rosaline, welcome.
Thank you.
And now a known figure on this particular platform is none other than Engineer Philip Okundi, a renowned person in this particular county especially. He is the NCIC Commissioner, a seasoned engineer with over 40 years of experience in policy, governance and international projects, a former Member of Parliament of Rangwe between 2003 and 2007, served as the MD and CEO in key institutions such as the Great Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, the Kenya Ports Authority, as well as the Kenya Bureau of Standards and the Kenya Post and Telecommunication Corporation. He's also the chairman and board leader of the CCK Board of Directors, World Space International. Engineer, good evening and welcome. And then finally on the panel, we do have Jovian Zwena. She is a human rights defender and social development practitioner, founder and CEO of KSI, empowering the youth and marginalized groups, an advocate of SDGs, driving grassroots and policy level change. She also promotes gender equality, peace building, and ending femicide. She also uses music and art as well as activism to inspire awareness, healing, and justice. Welcome, Jovian.
Thank you.
And of course, those are not the only panelists we do have this evening. On the other side, we also do have county governmental officials that are currently being represented in this particular hall. That's why I want to hand over to our very own, that is Nancy Okwari, to tell us some of the county officials that are here. Nancy? Okay, we'll be telling you them in a few, but I do understand the Deputy Governor as well as other county leadership members of the Kisumu County Government are currently in this particular hall. Let's kickstart off this particular discussion. Talk to us on our social media platform. We'll be sampling some of your views as this session continues. I want to start with the very own Zwena. Zwena, the first question being, given that this is a precursor to the conversation that will be happening in Kisumu on the 21st as we mark the International Peace Day, do we have peace in this country?
Currently, we can say it's on a 50-60 basis, because you're finding there's unrest with the youth and there's unrest also with the medical institution, where now we are having the medics also threatening to go on a strike. We are seeing that the teachers are also coming up. We are looking at currently the leading having to be the unemployment of the youths that are currently existing. So I would say no, because we're still also observing the wars that are currently going between the Sondu and Ahero border. So I will say no, we don't have peace in this country.
Let's go to the engineer. Engineer, do we have peace in this country? And more importantly, how can you describe peace in this country?
Peace in this country is very fragile, because we at the Commission, we are the level of trust between our people is not so good. This is something that we need to do something about. It goes into everything we do, confidence in which we confront us as leaders in this country. That the youth might greater, and this is the group that should need a concentration in order to grow a future for everybody.
Rosalie, are you of the same opinion or a different opinion?
I am of the same opinion. I would say we are calm, but we are not peaceful, because there's a lot that needs to be done when we talk about governance and accountability. But these are things that we can still talk about. That is why we have a transgenerational dialogue. We can have conversations around it, but we cannot ignore.
Benjamin, as a youth of this country, do we have peace in this country?
Yeah, now among the Gen Z, who are the majority population in Kenya, I don't think that there's any peace in the country.
Why do you say so?
Because the Gen Z mostly feel that a lot of our grievances are not sought by the government. You know, the Gen Z want a lot from the government. It's just that we know that when we use peace to give our grievances to the government, we don't usually get a good response. So that's why the Gen Z usually resort to unpeaceful methods, or rather violence, so that the government gets to hear their grievances. Because you know, we want economic empowerment that actually creates jobs, economic transformation. You know, mostly the government is usually saying daily that they are on a path of doing some economic transformation. But then if you are doing economic transformation and the Gen Z don't have jobs, they are idle. When you look at the social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you will see that the Gen Z are still not at peace. Thank you.
Zuena, as a human rights defender, you've just heard what Benjamin is talking, some of the grievances that we saw emanating last year to this year when the Gen Zs took to the streets. In terms of the other underlying issues, aside from Benjamin has pointed out unemployment, what are these other underlying issues that has taken the country where we are right now?
Well, what I can say is the people holding space or the officers are not listening. It's time that we stop just using the fear tactic to try silence the youth, and especially the Gen Z. It's time to have such conversations with the youth so that we can understand where exactly did the buck start dropping on us. You're looking at the situation where someone is a graduate with a master's and is a border rider, someone who's able to hold an office and actually work, but because of no opportunities, lack of those opportunities, because of favorism, and I'm still shocked in 2025, we still have the godfather syndrome that was there for you to actually get opportunities in offices. If this can be taken away and we create jobs, and I'm going to say this, but I hope I won't be stoned. Yes, creating houses is creating jobs for the youth, but how do you get a master's person to go mix cement for you, yet they do not even have the basic right to even get a job, walk into an office? We've not capacity built them so that they can be able to speak for themselves and say, this is my skill, this is what I have, and this is what I can offer. You get that a youth is going, someone who's around 22, 23, going to seek a job opportunity, you're being told you need 10 years to 15 years experience. They were not born then, or rather they were in diapers. How are they going to get that experience? So if we start giving opportunities on the basis of them having to learn, creating solutions not as per what we found, because what we found was already existing, but creating a new foundation of what employment spaces are supposed to look like, and give that space to the youth, I think we'll have a different conversation. But as I said, continuous dialogue and continuous different faces is going to help us get there.
Engineer, in terms of involving the youth, especially not only the kind of the NCIC peace initiatives that you're carrying across the country, do you involve the youths?
Well, I think this is a very big subject, because the youth of this country constitutes more than 70% of our population. And the growing levels of unemployment, levels of incomes are going down, and not so much. So as a result, it is important to face the youth and how they'll be comfortable amongst us over the years to come. Additionally, everybody starts at the lowest level. We are children, we become a middle, and then we are youth, then we become a middle people, then we go to old people. All those groups are important in the process of creating peace and creating inclusivity, creating happiness for everybody else, so that the economy is actually impacted by everybody's participation. Arrangement, conversation every state has a chance to converse with another one so that the problem solution process. You know, when we had the Gen Zs in this country, when the protest was there, it was widespread. The Gen Zs said that they are not listened to, so much is not there, the jobs are not there. They are almost everything less, leaderless. It's very good that it caused everybody to think. And I think this process is a very big one. It's so big that there's nobody which should be left out of this. It's not dialogue, it is a conversation. And every part is looked at in which way shall this part connect with this other one, such that all of us together can lift Kenya ahead.
Rosaline, in terms of the other issues that have been raised here by our very own Benjamin, he's talking that were witnessed last year and this year. In terms of addressing this, what should be the approach, especially from the government?
I think we are talking accountability, we are talking governance, and we are talking about, as you can see, decency. Decency in our political activities. You know, and this is what Gen Zs are telling us, you know. Normally, when we do our peace building work, we say, with women, we are talking including women and youth. But then, how come the Gen Zs are still feeling left out? Meaning, whatever we are discussing in the conversations that we are having are not addressing the exact issues that they have. And so the Gen Zs decided to bring themselves to the table, because we normally say, come and let us reason together. But if you are not called, you bring yourself to the table. So that is exactly what they have done. And what we are saying right now, we need to listen to them. We need to have that conversation. We need to put ourselves in their shoes and try to understand them. Because until we address the unemployment issues, we are not going to solve any issues. At least the duty bearers should try and get jobs for the Gen Zs. They just have to. And then the Gen Zs are talking about lack of trust. You know, there are political utterances that we receive each and every day, promises that are given that are not kept. And so these people are saying these promises. If you tell us one or two, that is what we are not taking any to the political. Everybody, when we are dealing with them, and more so, the most important thing is to have conversations with them to understand them.
And of course, talking about that, Benjamin, quickly before I toss it to the NCIC chairman on the floor and other partners who are here, in terms of addressing that trust issue, in your view, where should the government start to bridge that trust?
Okay. And now, before I answer that question, I'd like to maybe give a comment that I think the direction that is being taken is a good one when we embrace dialogue over confrontation. Now, the government can come in by making sure that the Gen Z, or rather the youth, are included in policy making, because mostly during the campaigns, and Mr. Deputy Governor here can tell you, during the campaigns, it's the youth and the Gen Z that usually help you in mobilizing and getting people so that you can talk to them. But then now, after you get into the seats of the office, you forget about them in policy making. We have a lot of grievances because even today, coming from the university, the lecturers are on strike. And you know, students have paid fee, they are in school, the parents are giving them money for upkeep, but then they are not being taught. This means that the semester dates will be changed. And this is so costly to the Gen Z. So I think in policy making, before the government makes any policies, they should be including the youth, or rather the Gen Z, so that what happened in Nepal or what happened in Kenya does not repeat again. Thank you.
There you have it. I want to now rope in our panelists who are on this particular other side. Our very own Rose Were is on that particular side. Rose, if you can also get the voice of the chairman himself in terms of cultural values and how it can be salvaged so that it does not undermine the national cohesion of this country. Get the voice on the chairman on that.
Thank you, Abdi. We have NCIC chairman, Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia. Karibu, chairman.
Asante sana. I really want to say how very pleased we are as NCIC to have provided this platform tonight, and really thanking KBC for making sure that what is talked about here does not just stay in this room, but the whole of the nation here assists. Secondly, we are very pleased that the Gen Z and the millennials have embraced this idea of transgenerational conversations, and which means that then there is already a trust-building process. And for us, this is very welcome because this is how we get to understand each other. Secondly, and coming from the Gen Z panelist, being concerned about policy making process that excludes the Gen Z. What we wanted to assure the Gen Z is that the policy making process starts like now. What you say here today will be translated into policy. And therefore, you have already contributed to that process. Now, what is even more important is that following these transgenerational conversations, we will then check with those who have participated, like the Gen Z and the millennials, and say, is this what we heard before we translate it into a policy? So that's very, very important, and it's good that it has been raised here because it will then take it up as we move on.
Okay, Chairman. And apologies for that. We want to take it over now to Nancy Okware to just tell us more what is being installed there. Also, we'll be getting the views of our very audience who are here, and you're tuning in. Talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 using the hashtag #AmaniKwaGround. Nancy Okware, if you're ready, over to you.
Na asante sana Abdi Aziz Hashim, na mtazamaji tu ni kukukumbusha tutakuwa na nafasi ya wale ambao wangependa kuuliza maswali. Hivyo basi ikiwa una swali ama mchango wowote kuhusiana na mazungumzo ya leo, utanitafuta nilipo, kisha tutazungumza, kisha utapata fursa ya kuuliza swali. Lakini kwa sasa hivi upande huu kuna kundi la wasanii, na bila kupoteza muda ningependa kuwapa usukani watutumbuize. Karibuni.
mpango wa Mungu juu ya maisha yako lazima ukuje kufikiana. Mpango wa Mungu juu ya jamii yako, mpango wa Mungu juu ya kazi ya mikono yako lazima ikakuje kutimia, hata kama unapitia vita za aina gani, hata kama ni vita za kiroho, vita za kimaisha, lazima mpango wa Mungu juu ya maisha yako uje kufikiana.
Mimi nilikuwa nataka shilingi 20,000.
Nimepiga maji na wewe acha. Kwanza huyu kule kwa joke box. Niko katika
sasa unaona
nini?
Wasikia mambo haya. Sisi tunapeana pesa, akasome wana peana pesa za biashara. Kumbe pesa zinaenda nini?
Wacha unafanya biashara ya almasi, unaleta almasi kutoka Zaire.
Lazekea humu na vituko humu.
Positive change is not always sudden. Sometimes it is achieved after a long period. What matters is the effort we put individually or as a group.
Most companies, you'll find that they are not employing persons with disability, which is a sad fact.
Tunalenga kupata vijana ambao wako na ulemavu ili waweze kupitia what we call inclusive internship program. Wakipata hizo skills ama taaluma waweze kujisimamia.
From the depths of the sea to the heart of the land, Kenya's coastal region is transforming.
Hii barabara ikiisha ita create a very big impact.
Hapa kuna kazi ambazo zitawaboost, ambazo zitawaepusha na mabalaa ya huko nje ya kuiba, ukora.
In the framework of the 1 million acres that need to come under irrigation food production, this project is part of that.
Tunashukuru serikali sasa kutuletea mradi huo umeme na tupate mafriza tuweze kuweka samaki zetu badala ya kwenda kutoka baharini uvuke uende Shimoni.
Through strategic national investments, lives are changing. Hope is rising and the promise of prosperity is being fulfilled.
And thank you for staying with us. This is the third edition of the Transgenerational Conversation live from Kisumu County. We had talked about a lot of issues. If you're just joining us, our dear viewers, from wherever you're joining us from, talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 using the hashtag #AmaniKwaGround. Now, I want to continue with this particular discussion with our panelists before we head over to our members of the audience before they can pose their questions to our panelists here and any other county official and the national government officials who are here with us. Let me go back to Zuena. Zuena, before we went on a short commercial break, we were talking about the issue of rebuilding trust. Benjamin had tapped a little bit on when it comes to trust between the government and the youth of this country. There is another element to it. What about the trust between the youth and the police officers?
That's now a very sensitive chapter, but it's something that we are going to have to talk about, because that's one of the biggest elephants we are having in the room. In the recent time, we are seeing how there's been a lot of police brutality against the youths and actually those who are holding spaces like the activists and human rights defenders. We've seen police abuse their power. We've seen police take away the power of the people from the people. And according to the Constitution, we are free to assemble and also to echo our voices. Freedom of speech is so much enshrined within the Constitution, and even freedom of assembly. But you find that even when we were having the GNZ demonstrations happening, we saw a lot when there was a ceasefire that was requested. The police went against their own mindset and led into shooting live bullets and even injuring some of the protesters who were there. I'm not saying all of them are bad, because we saw the law taking its course, as much as it takes longer. But we are looking at how are we going to let the youth gain the trust again with the police. And that's where now we came together as stakeholders of Kisumu County with NCIC, where we had a day on Valentine's Day where we took flowers to the policemen, because they're also human beings, they're also facing their own traumas and also their own dramas. So we went to create, not even just create, but to show the people of Kisumu County that the police are still our brothers and sisters, as much as this negativity is still trying to be portrayed by others who are abusing the uniform. We are looking at how can we create that peaceful integration of even youth wanting to enroll into police academy, because now after that incident of the GNZ process, we found a lot of GNZ refusing now to even go for recruitment. We found only one region was even going higher, but when you came to Nyanza it was low, because you're looking at if they cannot be held accountable, yet they have a tool, a weapon. Are we really safe? Are our youth really safe? And not only youth, we even saw the women who are being attacked. In Nyalenda, we saw tear gas being lobbed in homes. Is that really what they're being trained for? And that's why a lot of stakeholders that we are currently having conversations on how to take a VCAT, that is value clarification and attitude change training, into how do you call it, Gimbaro, or rather the training institution, NIS, so that we can start having this peaceful conversation with the police, so that when they're now integrating into the community, they're able to serve the people as a people, and when they face challenges, they're able to get also support.
And engineer, in terms of the approach, because you're dealing with not only an informed generation, but also a tech-savvy generation. So in terms of approach, do you continue with the same approach that has been used before, or you need to change your tact?
Well, thank you. We in the NCIC, we exist to promote and facilitate equal opportunities, good relations, harmony, and peaceful coexistence amongst persons of different ethnic or racial grounds, and create people feel inclusive in whatever happens for their good and amongst them. But we know in this country, the police, for example, their logo is to say utumishi kwa wote. But this has not been demonstrated in what we have seen in the recent past. So otherwise, this has brought, the way they have operated, has brought mistrust. The level of growth of mistrust between this entity and wananchi has gone very big. And this, we have a job to ensure that we put people into training, put the police people in training. We also talk amongst our various generations to see how to approach one another in order that we can create a harmonious coexistence amongst ourselves, so that more things can happen for the good of all. But we are handling a whole number of issues, even hate speech alone. People talking in languages that can cause others to harm the others is something we have to find how to detect, and we are detecting some are very difficult to detect, but they all come up towards causing this Gen Z's reaction, because if they are harmed, they do not see things coming forward, then obviously somebody must do something about it in order that governance can take place in this country in a good way.
Okay. And Rosalind, and Benjamin, before we move to the audience, let me ask you, in terms of listening to the concerns that have been raised not only by Benjamin and many other youths who are out there in the country, is the older generation listening to them?
Yeah, the older generation are listening to them, but they are not acting. So that's why the Gen Zs are out and telling us, can you please listen and take action? So like I mentioned earlier, we have been talking inclusion. We have been talking 2250, 1325, the women, and involving also the youth in our work. And in our peace building work, there is no way you will work without the security sector. And just going back a bit to the question that you asked, Zuena and the Commissioner, you know, we have to work together. First and foremost, we are all Kenyans. Be you a Gen Z, the older generation, or even the police, we are all Kenyans. And we have to work together, you know. So the Gen Zs are out here telling us what they need. We have to listen. We have been listening, but we have not been listening enough. So what I'm saying is, this is the opportunity. The NCIC has taken the lead. Us as partners, we are also following up. So we have to work together. The organizations, the civil society organizations, the religious organizations, every Kenyan has to come out so that we address this issue. Because this issue is for all of us. It's not for NCIC alone. It's for government, it's for the political class. So all of us together as Kenyans must come out and address this issue. We have to listen to our agencies. We have to tell them what we can do and what we cannot do, because we may not be able to do everything that they want us to carry out within that short period of time. But we have to be very honest with them and tell them exactly what can happen and what cannot happen.
In terms of rebuilding not only the trust, Benjamin, what do you think should be the first step in ensuring that your concerns are heard?
Sorry?
I'm asking, aside from hearing your concerns, what do you think, not only the government and the key stakeholders, what do they need to do so that they can ensure your concerns are heard?
Okay. Now, before I answer that, I heard you talk about police. I want to say something about it. You know, the police, I can say that most people in the young generation, the Gen Zs and the millennials, we are not so much encouraged even to recruit into the force, because there's a culture that has been created in that people now just assume that the corruption that is there in the police force is a normal thing. And those are some of the things that the young generation want the government and agencies such as IPOA to do their job and make sure that most of the sectors are transformed. You know, we can always have conversations day in, day out, but without action, as she said. She said that the older generation listen, but they don't listen enough. So we want the older generation to listen enough, so that, you know, we also want to have a peaceful country. And we want to have a country that is moving forward, because it's not only the Gen Z that should be asking for changes in the country. It should be everyone. When we see that things are not moving well, each and every generation should be coming out, of course with the Gen Z leading. Now, I don't want us to... Okay. 30 seconds? No. I don't want us to just always have conversations like this, but then I want that the actions should be taken by the relevant authorities and the government and the agencies that are also independent. Thank you.
So implementation after this particular discussion. Now let's open it up for members of the audience who are currently joining us. I want to hand you over to my very able colleague, that is Nancy Okware. Nancy, over to you.
Asante sana Abdi Aziz Hashim. Jukumu langu ni kuwapa tu wananchi nafasi ya kuuliza maswali, na nikukujuza tu unaweza ukazungumza kwa lugha ya Kiingereza au Kiswahili, na pia swali lako liwe moja na fupi. Nitaanza upande huu kisha nitaelekea upande huu. Utasimama tafadhali, utueleze jina lako, swali lako ni lipi, unalielekeza kwa nani? Nitakushikia.
Okay. Allow me to address in English, Kiswahili kidogo. So, my name is Fulgence Richard Rabach, the CEO and founder of TVSTG. My question, as I'm starting, the Bill of Rights in the Constitution, Article 55, states that obliges the state to take measures including affirmative action programs to ensure that the youth access, mark the word access, relevant education, training, have opportunities to associate, mark the word associate again, and represent be represented, participate in political, social, economic, and other spheres of the country benefits. Now, engineer and madam, sorry, in Gen Z language we'll call you Auntie Wamado. So you have said that the question is, who is we? You tell us to form policies, you tell us to take actions that you, at the end of the day, you all people approve. How many times, madam, how many times do you want to listen to Gen Zs? How many times do you want people to die for you to listen? Have you not seen people go with cards on the road? How far can you listen, or how deaf are you in the government?
Asante kwa hilo swali. Utasimama tafadhali utueleze jina, swali lako kwa kifupi na unalielekeza kwa nani?
Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Apollo. I come from Nyakach, Sondu. My question will be directed to the panel. What is NCIC and the government doing to ensure that there's lasting peace in areas prone to border conflicts like Sondu, where I come from? And then how are they involving youth in ensuring that this peace that they are campaigning for is continued through generations? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. Mwisho upande huu, kisha nitaelekea upande huu. Tupate maswali matano hivi. Utasimama tafadhali, jina lako na utueleze swali lako ni lipi. Nitakushikia.
Okay, thank you. My name is Richard Omondi. I work with the Lead Initiative. My question would be, in the 47 counties in Kenya, I think the youth policy has been only implemented by around 5 counties, including Kakamega, Nyeri, and Makueni. So that youth policy itself, you realize it was made without even the involvement by the youth. So my request, because it opens the grievances that we have as youths, my request would be, or my question would be, what are our counties doing about the youth policy itself? Again, the grievances that we have as youths is that we are excluded. And the exclusion part of it makes us to look for an option. So an option might be a violent means of airing our problems. So I think with the good policies that we have, it is time that the government should now come in to implement them holistically, to implement them so that we can find a way of not just being a beneficiary of peace, but being part of the implementers. For example.
Thank you. Asante. Tumelipata hilo swali. Asante kwa muda wako. Mtaniruhusu nielekee upande huu. Utasimama. Tueleze jina lako, swali lako ni lipi kwa kifupi sana.
Okay. My name is Clarence Orlando. I'm a lawyer by profession. My question is to the panel. Now that the Gen Z movement has been largely leaderless, is there a fear that once they manage to get what they want, then they open up the field for some people to take advantage, people who are not probably having good intentions to take advantage once the space is open? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. Briefly, then I will head to get a question from that end. You can just stand up. I'll be getting more questions later on. So your name and your question.
Okay, my name is Dai Jojo, and my question goes to the panelists. As we are bridging this gap, yes, and having these conversations, peace starts with freedom of expression, and art is a freedom of expression. How then can we have this conversation beyond this space when our online spaces are being filtered, we are being scrutinized, and our art of expressions inakuwa compromised? How can we have this conversation and come up with a solution? And for the fact that the boomers and the millennials have always labeled as Gen Zs as rebels, how can we, mnataka aje? How can we have this conversation? Yes, thank you.
Naam, swali ni mnatakaje? Mtaniruhusu nipite tu kidogo angalau nipate, manake ni mazungumzo ya vizazi. Nimepata upande wa vijana, wacha tupate swali lako. Tafadhali utasimama, tueleze jina lako, swali lako kwa kifupi.
Yes, my name is Jacob Otina Kach. I represent Luo Council of Elders. I don't have any question, but I have a comment. I was touched in 2024 when the Gen Zs rioted. It was their right, yes. But what I'm seeing, the government is failing the youth. Youths have energy. But what it is because of deep corruption. Where on earth should youth fail to get employment? I'm telling this government that if these youth are not controlled, this social rupture will be will be the mainstay of this country. What it is, we as leaders, the Council of Elders, we endorse that this corruption should go. It should be dead. Otherwise, youths, they have the energy. This country will sink. As of now, unemployment. Almost 3 weeks ago, there was a fundraising. About 10,000 youths were looking for 50 shillings. People knife themselves. What is it? This country is over 60 years in terms of independence. Where are we going? This nation is going to sink. Thank you.
Asante sana. Wanasema mambo mengi, muda mchache, lakini tumemaliza awamu ya kwanza ya maswali. Ningependa kurejea kwake Abdi Aziz Hashim, angalau tupate majibu, kisha nitakuwa nachukua maswali zaidi. Abdi.
Indeed, Nancy, the question there, of course, that has made us jiggle a little bit. Munatakaji, what do you want from us? Let me start with here, Zwena. Zwena, you've heard that particular question, especially when it comes to the border conflict. As a human rights defender, we start with that question and then follow up with the others that have been asked.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the questions. And just as my beloved sister said, the border conflict is really interfering with the population that is there within Sondu. We are seeing businesses are being closed early. They're not operating as they are supposed to do. We are finding kids having to be taken to school or escorted, or schools being closed down, so which means their lives are not going on as it's supposed to be. And I'm happy that with NCIC, there's conversations currently ongoing on how we can do ground awareness and even find how we can basically remove or reevaluate other people to these other places in Kisumu. But what is most important is the leadership. The leadership of Sondu and the other bordering where the conflict is coming from. We need to have conversations where we understand where is this border and who is in charge of what and what. Because we are finding now the people are taking it upon themselves now to safeguard their communities, and that is their right. When you look at what social power speaks about, it speaks about the communities. The communities are the ones who have the power to control and even influence what goes on. And if this goes ahead, then which means we are going to have a question where is Sondu a county on its own or a county by itself? Because we need to have real conversation, intentional conversation, where we look at how are we going to equip the police force that are there, the chief in that area, and even the community elders, and how are we going to engage the youths, especially the youths who are now being influenced into these battles, and look at what can we put a resource that can have not only information, but also have access to the different kind of amenities that are there. Currently, as you're speaking, the GBV desk is not active, literally not active. If any woman is attacked, there's nowhere to report to. You find most of the cases are being referred all the way to Kisumu, or then Ahero refers to Kisumu because they're not able to handle it. But that's another conversation for another time.
For another day. Engineer, as you respond to all the questions that have been posed to you, more importantly, the young Gen Z there talked about an article of the institution, the Constitution itself. In terms of listening, they're saying you're talking and talking and talking. Are you deaf?
Yes, I get you. I think I will start with the questions around Article 45 of the Constitution. You know, we in the NCIC, we advocate for one people, one nation, and one destiny. This means that we need to find out what can make us become more adequately provided as one people, one nation, and one destiny. We do research in all the sectors. In fact, currently, we are talking with parastatals to see how they employ people who are there. Because in employment is where you can estimate the distribution of the public resources that people are paying taxes for so that they gain the goodness of their country. And here is where the people find that we don't have jobs, we don't have this. Now, how are they doing this? Now, we create a conversation with us, with these people, so that they see that the balances are there. The gender balances are there. It's very difficult because the history we are coming from is very complicated, whereby you find almost over 60% of one ethnic group is in one place, and yet they're sharing public resources. And so we are creating this situation where everybody has an equal opportunity to be considered. People's diversity is recognized and given a chance to grow. So that is a tall order. We're working on it, and we are creating a conversation. That's why we need this kind of audience like we have here, because out of it, we take what has been discussed and what the feelings of our people are so that we can take it up to other policymakers in order that people have a chance to really grow into this thing. We cannot achieve it with violence. Violence is a reaction which you go to because you have nowhere to go. Ukifunga paka ndani, atapita hata kwa dirisha, hata through your eyes to go somewhere else. But we don't need this to happen. The other thing, though, sorry?
Finally?
Bye?
Finally. You can
finally.
Questions so that I can pose to others.
Finally, freedom of expression and also corruption. Corruption is the biggest elephant in any room we go to in this country. It has grown and is taken a very, very serious stage. Let us all have a live conversation to try and reduce and make it a minimum and let it go altogether. Because it is behind everything we do. Everything we do. And if we let it go up, it will make things worse. I think I can end there, but corruption is something that nobody can hide today, because even it has been said at the top policy level that Kenya is losing around 2 billion shillings a day. If that happens, then there's no need to pay tax. You pay tax and it goes to corruption.
Okay. Rosaline, I know you're itching to respond, but start with that particular question. Simply put, mnatakaje sasa?
Tunatakaje? Tunataka kuwaelewa. We want to understand you. That is what we want. And okay, let me talk. Give me the chance also. You see, everybody has a part to play, just like the body parts. The leg cannot play the part of the hand, yeah? I come from civil society. NCIC is government. So what are we doing here? We are trying to work together. We are trying to collaborate, because there are some things that NCIC cannot do as government, that I can do, that my organization can do as civil society. And when civil society, most of the time, is closer to the community. So when I get information from the community, I am able to relay it to the government through NCIC and other government organs, so that even if you want to be involved in policy making, you cannot just stand up on the streets and say, we want to be involved in policy making. There has to be a structure. And that is where we come in. So like right now, we are having these conversations. NCIC will go back to Nairobi. They have their regional office here. We are normally together even whether the Nairobi office is here or not. And these are some of the issues that we are talking about. But we cannot, because you are also telling us that we sit and talk and leave you out. Now we have brought you in. Why don't we start from here? We have a past, we have a present, and we have a future. So this is a starting point. Why don't we start from here? We want to listen to you. And you know, if you have a child, whether they are protesting or whatever they do, they will still come back to the house and eat, and life has to go on. But we have to coexist, so we have to listen to you.
Quickly, before I go to the crowd, let me just get a few thoughts from Benjamin there. Benjamin, quickly, so that I can toss to your fellow Gen Zs to ask more questions. on the corruption that has been talked about. Especially, I want you to react to the youth policy in terms of you, the leaders of this county, as young leaders of tomorrow. What have you done in bridging between you and the county government in implementing the youth policy?
Okay. There are a lot of things that have been done between the leaders and the youth in Kisumu County. First of all, I'd like to mention to the Gen Z in the crowd that we have aspirants in the forthcoming elections in Kisumu County who are Gen Z. Who are Gen Z. So, you know, most of the time we were complaining about representation. You know, we used to say that most of our grievances are not heard because most of the leaders were of the older generation. So now I think that the Gen Z in Kisumu are taking the mantle, and we are going to make sure that we push them and make sure that they get to that position. And again, I think that the county government has also tried to have conversations in institutions such as universities and also in the polytechnics. They usually come, and there's also some conversations like Jukwaa la Usalama and Jukwaa la Wasomi, so that policies are made from such conversations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And of course, even the by-elections that are coming in November 27th, that is an opportune time for many aspirants to even at least ensure that they have vied for many seats, not only in those particular areas. But Nancy, let's get more views from our audience there.
Na asante Abdi Aziz, maswali ni mengi, nitachukua manne upande huu kisha manne upande huu. Utasimama, tueleze jina lako, swali lako, tutaangalia upande ule. Tutakushikia.
My name is Raduk, and my question is, what next after this transgenerational talk? Are you just ticking the boxes because the peace day is around the corner, or because the way things are currently, the country is not at peace. We are just under small control. Yeah.
Asante, asante. Tutasimama. Swali lako kwa kifupi sana kama alivyofanya.
My name is Philip Kai, and my question is very simple. I've seen you are talking about the youths. Mine is very simple, and I want to ask, until when will you keep on postponing what these youths are saying? And if you cannot implement them, when shall you do it? Because the youths are advocating for what is right. And when they're advocating for what is right, why send the police who has been holding guns on their behalf to kill them on the street, if at all speaking what is right makes a state to kill its citizen? Where are we heading to?
Asante sana, tuelekee upande huu kwa kifupi kisha nitaelekea upande huu. Utasimama, jina lako na swali lako.
Thank you so much. My name is Ambale Sarafina. I work for Eagle Wings Organization. I have two questions. And the first is to you, Madam. Why are agencies such as NCIC being used as political tools for convenience when it comes to the government engagement? And then we all know that violent ideologies run very fast, or rather spread very fast online. But then how is the government going to stop this radicalization without making us feel as if our voices are being stopped online? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tutapata majibu, manake ni maswali ambayo yanaulizwa na washikadau ambao wanastahili kuyajibu wako hapa, wakiwemo tume ya NCIC. Utasimama, jina lako na swali lako kwa kifupi sana.
Okay, I'll skip my onomastics for the sake of chronometer. So I'll go straight to my question. So I just have two questions. The first question goes, Zay has talked about creating equal opportunity even for the youth. But it is the same country where we have over 85 years being a youth leader, and you are just there sitting. Is that okay? Then my second question is, right now, okay, my second question goes, You've said you've been conducting this transgenerational conversation, but with who? With whom? Nobody has ever talked to me about this anything.
Leo tumekufikia, ndio maana leo hii tuko Kisumu City kupata maoni yenu. Utasimama tafadhali, jina lako na mchango wako katika mjadala huu nitakushikia.
Thank you. My name is George Alambo. George Alambo is a peace actor and also I chair Western Kenya Human Rights Network. When Benjamin talks, and I know the situation we normally go through as seeing the young people. Benjamin, how is it easy for you even to get an attachment? Because it is a recipe for violence. Because once you're denied, soon you'll be graduating, and we don't expect, as a pharmacologist, I find you by the roadside. So I'm concerned about that, and part of it will go also to the two arms of government. Is it so difficult or too demanding to even open those offices? We have several departments, both in national government and also county. Even just giving the young people attachment or internship for free, the truth, they always suffer, and some turn down.
All right, thank you so much. Sante, utasimama jina lako kwa kifupi sana, muda unatupa kisogo.
Okay, my name is Charlotte. I work for an organization called AfriNov, that is Africa Center for Nonviolence and Sustainable Impact. Okay, the young people always say, whenever they air their grievances, they are always being told to follow the right channel. And the reason why they're always being told this is because those people have the remote control over those channels. So can you please dismantle the remote control so that the young people can have their voices heard? Another question, I come from Sondu, and we are talking of peace. And there is no way you can talk of peace where there is no justice. Where I come from, there are victims of violence as a result of inter-ethnic clashes that have been happening along the border. There are women that are bearing scars of arrows and even pangas. They have even buried their loved ones. Up to now, there is no justice that have been served to these women. I'm asking the Commission, when will justice be served to these people?
Thank you so much. Jina lako na swali ninaelekea kutamatisha, kisha tutawapa NCIC fursa ya kujibu. Jina lako and your question. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lilian Ogutu from Equity Bank. I would just want to challenge not just the panelists, but the entire country on what are we telling our youth when they were children? How are they growing up? And what are we educating them? Because I think if we raise such a huge number, up to 70% of our generation, and we are still stuck to the way of the past that you go to school, you get a good job. Reality is there are no jobs. Can we change the narration that we are bringing up our children with? Can we tell them that being a farmer, being a business person, being something different from just somebody who is employed can make a difference? Let's change our narration. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to hand it back to Abdiaziz Hashim so that we can get questions. We can get answers, then we'll get back to the questions. Abdiaziz.
Okay, Nancy, before you go and move from there, Nancy, I will kindly ask you to give you that microphone to the NCIC chairman. I want to ask him that question that has been posed by our very abled Gen Zs in the panel. Is the NCIC being used as a political tool?
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say that the answer is no. NCIC is not being used and cannot be used as a political tool. We are an independent commission. We are not answerable to anybody other than the Constitution. We are, of course, appointed by the President. He is our appointing authority. But when it comes to being controlled, we are not controlled by anyone. So that's the one answer. Secondly, there has been a question about Sondu. NCIC, in the last 2 years, we have been involved in peace building in Sondu. I must really share that originally, this very sitting here was supposed to be in Sondu. And the two governors of Kisumu and of Kericho, we have been working together, and we were looking forward to having this conversation in Sondu, and on Sunday, the International Day of Peace. But there were some technical problems, not coming from the county of Kisumu or county of Kericho, but from other sections of government which were not resolved before today. But we wanted to assure the people of Sondu that this is not the end. We will continue, and we talked today, in fact, with Governor Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, that after this we'll continue until we see that there is the issue of Sondu is solved, so that there will be a lasting peace, as was asked. Then there is, allow me...
finally, Chairman.
Finally, there was a question as to what, after today, after these conversations, what? I want to say that we'll put together all the information, all the questions that have come up, not only today, but in other times, so that we'll see this is what we have heard from all the generations, and then we'll form an implementing committee, which then will sort this out, and we will put to the right agencies so that we can see what to do together. And we'll work with the government of Kisumu, who are hosting us here, so that we'll see at the two levels of government what is it that we can do at the county level and at the national level. And that partnership is very, very important, because there is no one particular agency which can do all the work that needs to be done. But we'll continue to work with the government of Kisumu from now going on. And what we want to say, I want to ask the Gen Z, particularly, you monitor what is going on and hold us accountable. You should have an audit, social audit of what is going on, what we said in Kisumu, what we said in Marsabit, is it being done? So, and that's why it is important to be a little bit more structured, so that you'll be able to have a systematic way of following this. I think that's the only way that we'll be able to really help each other.
Okay, Chairman. Okay, Chairman. Now, let me toss it here. Let me start with you, Zuena. You've just heard about one in terms of harnessing, especially this current age of the digital era. How can we use it in that digital space, not only to undermine other people, but to use it as a business venture?
So I'm going to look at this in two aspects. The first one, we're going to look at how has technology enabled us to even get justice for the victims who are actually attacked. We've seen Gen Zs and the community, when anything is going wrong, they take pictures and they share it online. And you find that it is easy now to track and even identify perpetrators. So technology has enabled us to get justice, but also technology has enabled for GBV to actually increase. So we also have to look at what are we going to be doing so that we can also have that limitation where what is able to be shared. I remember when we are having the femicide cases, you would wake up and the first thing in a WhatsApp group you'd meet is bodies of young girls maimed. And I think the Communication Authority with the government is currently trying to come up with a policy on what can be shared and at what level. Going back now, I think this one I'll throw it to my deputy governor. As per what the youth said in regards to the opportunity, there's a conversation where it's being said that the youth using digital space cannot get access to even the, let me now speak in terms of art, that they have to leave Kisumu to go to Nairobi to get that. What if we can equip Kisumu so that all the artists from Nairobi, Mombasa, Uganda, Tanzania come to Kisumu? And I love that Mama Grace Onyango is coming up. So maybe that I will throw back to him, and he'll be able to answer the youth in terms of activism and even music and other arts to play.
I will accord you the rest 1 minute each, kindly, because of time. Let me start with you, Engineer. There's another question. The chairman even did not address it, but you can address it given that you're an NCIC commissioner. Are you using this exercise to tick the box ahead of the polls? And who did you talk to in terms of this transgenerational conversation? You can see a gentleman asking, how did it come to be that we're having this conversation now? In a minute.
Is that to me or to her?
You.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I just want to visit Sondu a little bit. As long ago as at 1929, one of the first deaths in this country, because people did not agree at borders, happened at Sondu. So we in NCIC, we take Sondu issue very seriously. As a matter of fact, we managed to get the two governors. There are also other two governors, Mama Bay and Nyamira, but we made them sign a peace accord, which will create peace in this place. So, that is one thing. Now, another thing I want to say is that we need the Gen Zs also, as we audit the entire country on matters peace, they also should check what the NCIC is doing, so that we are kept in the race to fight this battle for the good of all of our people.
Okay. Rosaline and Benjamin, I'll give you an opportunity, but first let me go to our very own Rosewere. Then Rosewere, over to you, and I'll be back with the final remarks of Benjamin and Rosaline. Over to you, Were.
Thank you, Abdi. Thank you, our panelists. Before I go to the Kisumu County Deputy Governor, who is here with us on behalf of the Governor and the county government, we have NCIC Vice Chairperson here with us, Honorable Commissioner Dorcas Kedogo, our Directors James Wanyande, Deputy Director Chalo Mwengi, and our NCIC regional officers who are based at the County Commissioner's Office, Lorraine Adhiambo and Castro Baraza. They are on 4th floor at the County Commissioner's Office. We have the Chief of Staff, who is the with the Deputy Governor, Mr. Alois Ager, and the Kisumu County Ministers, Salmon Orimba, Beatrice Wadiaga, and John Awiti. Now we go to the Deputy Governor, Kisumu County, Dr. Matthew Ochieng Owili. Daktari, Kisumu has suffered during political unrests recently and most of the times, but now we have some relative calm in Kisumu. How is the county government taking advantage of this calm to engage the community in Kisumu, especially these young people? Karibu, Daktari.
Thank you very much. I'm here on behalf of the governor of the county of Kisumu, Professor Peter Anyang', who met Reverend Dr. Kobia and team earlier. And of course, thank you for introducing the team that we are with here. Before I answer that question, allow me to make a few remarks. One is to thank Gen Z, Benjamin, you and your team, for standing in the gap for this country and for bringing us back to the table to reason together. And in addition to that, allow me also to thank two illustrious sons of Kenya, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, and the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, who decided that out of your agitation, that they can come together for the sake of our country. Today we are talking about transgenerational conversation. And so we expected to see there the millennials, baby boomers, the alpha, and of course, Generation X, where I belong. I think an attempt has been made to do that, but we can do better, next time. The government descended on Kisumu today. I mean, you all know that the CS Interior, the PS, and the whole team has been here since morning. And we also take note that Dr. Kobia, your team is part of, Interior. Now, quickly to the question that you're asking. In Kisumu, we say that if the crocodile comes out of the lake to tell you that the hippo is sick, you better believe them. And so if Kisumu tells you that peace is sweet, that peace is what we need to spur development, then you better believe us. Why? Because since independence, we have been considered, and it's been true, as the center of agitation, and we have never known peace. But now, because of the initiative on NCIC, and you're doing a very good job, we can say that for the last few years, Kisumu is, peaceful. Kisumu is spreading the message of peace. Kisumu is developing. You just need to look at the number of, guests that you are having, national government, meetings in this space. You need to look at the kind of investments since we made a decision as a team to be peaceful, to know what it means to be peaceful. So as Kisumu, no, we are not yet through. Okay, then I can leave it there. But also to note that we feel like we've not been given sufficient opportunity as a county in this forum to be able to tell the country what it means to be peaceful.
Thank you so much, DG, for your contribution as the county government. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Benjamin, apologies. Benjamin and DT, that is the President Student Organization. Thank you for coming. And of course, Rosaline Onunga, the peace building and conflict management professional. Also, Jovian Zwena, a human rights defender and social development practitioner. Thank you for your time. And then finally, the engineer in the set, that is Philip Okundi, the NCIC Commissioner. Thank you for your time. Dear viewers, that is the time we had for the Kisumu Transgenerational conversation here, the 3rd edition. And of course, you'll have to tune in to know which county will be hosting the 4th edition. But for now, I leave you with the entertainment of this band.
Sio lazima turushe mawe ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima tupigane ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima. Sio lazima. Sio lazima tupigane ndio mambo yawe sawa. Sio lazima turushe mawe.